cake, right? I want to cut into. We were watching Love and Hip Hop.
Yes, we were.
I don't know how many people. V's favorite rapper on the fucking planet walking this earth is Baldhead Joey. Uncle Joe. That's my guy. I love Joe.
And I just want to make it clear that I've always loved Joe Budden. Before all of the bullshit, the podcasting Joe and whatever. Like, Joe. I think when I was in diapers, I'm just joking. He ain't been, but still, like, Joe is literally the best lyricist.
Pump it up. I liked it when it came out.
Y'all
when he crawled through the TV and shit. Like, I thought that was dope.
Y'all can keep that song. That's for y'all, motherfuckers.
I fuck with Joe, but I fuck with Joe. Joe is a revolutionary person. He was one of the first people I saw pick up a camera and record his relationship. And the relationship that he recorded was one with Tahiri. I met Tahiri. I did personal security for Tahiri. She's actually pretty fucking cool.
Okay.
You can't deny that. I was watching her on the show talk to Joe Budden's baby mother, Sin Santana, ex-fiance, and she tells her with the most confidence I've ever seen in the world, you might be his ex-fiance, but I'm the ex.
Woo!
And I said, wait a second.
She didn't say it like that. She worded it a little bit cleaner. She emphasized it to her.
She emphasized the shit out of the like bitch.
Like,
I'm
everybody has the ex.
Everyone has the ex. And I want you to hear what we're saying. Everyone has the ex, but everyone also has the ex.
Right. And they're two separate entities.
Two different. And me and V had to do a lot of talking, a lot of thinking, a lot of back and forth. Disagreeing and agreeing to finally realize that there are two. There's the ex and then there's the ex.
Yeah.
V, you want to explain to them the difference between the ex and the ex?
Okay. The ex is the person that you were with that's the most impactful in your life. Whether it's good or bad, they are tied to you forever. There's no separating you two ever. Ever. It is what it is. The ex is just somebody that you spoke to and you just wish you didn't date that motherfucker at all. They're just the ex. They were just there. That's someone that you built with, but it wasn't as productive as shit. The ex.
It was trash. So the debate here, there's a part of the ex debate that I'm not understanding. I use an example that we all know pretty well. Nicki Minaj, Safari, and Meek Mills.
And this is where him and I went back and forth.
We went back and forth
for a while because I don't agree with what he thinks. He thinks that for Nicki Minaj, the ex is
Meek
Mills. I think it's Safari.
Now, I also want to do a name association type thing. If I was to say name let's play a game called Name the Ex. If I say Nicki Minaj, you say
Safari.
But if I say Nicki Minaj, you say Safari. I say Meek.
Meek was the ex as of right now, right?
As of right now, he's the ex.
He's the ex.
Safari's the ex.
Is Safari the one that got away?
No, I don't know if Safari.
Is Safari the one? If Safari is the one that got away, he's the ex.
But what if Nicki was the one that got away? We don't really know. We don't know them personally, right?
Yeah.
So we can't really deep dive into that relationship. However, Safari is the most impactful, in my opinion, because he was there when she was, doing what she was doing. Whether he agreed with it or supported it, he was there, right? Once he came onto the scene and we realized who he was, the backup dancer, the whatever else that he was doing with her, right? Now that they are not together, there's no way that you don't see Safari and be like, oh, where's Nicki Minaj?
That's another thing that we figured out. Just because one person is the ex doesn't mean that you're the ex for that person.
Exactly.
Safari's the ex is 100% Nicki Minaj. Also, what we figured out is two people can have the same the ex.
Yes, and you can't live up to the ex.
Ever.
No matter what you do.
Safari's the ex is Nicki. Meek's the ex is Nicki.
Yes.
They both have the same VX. For another example, just in case you think we playing here, Karuche's DX is Chris Brown.
And Rihanna's DX is Chris Brown as well. So that's how it works. Like
it does
there's
work
no
funny.
right or wrong answer when it comes to the X's.
Yeah.
But the X's, I want you to understand the impact that it makes. For example, if Rob and I break up right now,
she's the X.
and I will be the X for him.
'Cause right
and
now I don't
kids
have
do
a
not
the
play a factor.
Which
I
don't really agree.
Kids do not play a factor in the matter because Safari has a child now and Nikki is still the ex for him. We also have to take into consideration that these relationships are televised,
Very
right?
public relationships.
Look at it as if you were going to be televised as well, right? Let's say you and I are televised.
Very true. You're the ex. They don't know anything before you.
Exactly.
I don't remember anything before you. Sorry.
That's great. Whatever. Fat back. Bring it back.
God, okay.
So let's play that game that you said.
Okay.
Beyonce,
Jay-Z,
Chris Brown.
Rihanna.
Let me see who else I could say. I'm trying to get my
Go ahead. I got you.
Cardi B.
Offset.
So it's just like
So
that.
how about this? Future.
Sierra. Yes.
No, Sierra.
Oh, you're saying Sierra.
Yeah.
Future.
He said Bow Wow. I knew he was going to say that shit.
Dickhead.
But Bow Wow, who's the ex? Bow Wow's list of women is pretty long and impressive. Shad Moss, excuse me. Who's his DX?
I don't know. He's maybe his baby mom now, the dancer.
I don't know. I don't know her. I don't know her to be around him. Maybe it's the Simmons girl.
I was going to say Angela, but it has to be the more impactful, the one that leaves a mark, and some people don't have the X either.
No, very true. I don't have a the X. I have the X, of course. The people that don't have a the X, if you sitting here listening, yeah, like if you're listening right now, you're kind of like, I don't have a the X. You're thinking about it. Then you have a the X, and the X was impactful, but really you could erase that person and be fine for the rest of your life.
And that's the X is more of a negative.
It's way more of a negative
than
now,
a
I know
good.
some of my fellas, when I had conversations with my fellas about the X, got pretty toxic. So put on your safety gears, ladies. It's about to get very toxic masculinity in here. The X, according to the fellas I spoke to, is the guy that can still pipe that shit down whenever.
And I think that goes both ways.
Yeah.
I
don't debate it.
Go both ways because when I asked some of my lady friends, my best friend specifically, she said it's someone that you can call on when you need something and vice versa.
Very true. That's dangerous to me.
It can be.
So with all that research, we actually did research on this.
From real people,
From
not
real life
motherfucking
people.
Google, okay?
So we bring it back to Tahiri, Joe, and Sin. I don't think Tahiri is any longer the ex. I think that's all she has, so she holds on to it, or she thinks she has it. I honestly think Sin is the ex.
And this is where
we disagree.
I like both of them with Joe.
Okay.
Right? I like the dynamic that Joe and Tahiri had, though it was toxic behind closed doors. I liked it. The chemistry was there. I don't know how toxic it was for Sin and Joe, right? But I like them as a couple. They're fun. They looked like they were actually in love. They actually
it looked great.
Yeah, and they had a child from that.
Yeah.
I still don't think
that's
Sin
heavy.
is the ex because when you think of Joe Budden and even when you go into, I guess, the comment section, which is very toxic, they still want to see
Joe with Tahiri.
Yes.
But when does it change over? Because there is a point where it does change over.
It has to. You just have to be more impactful.
You got to be more impactful. But at what point? Is it like 10 years with the person? Then it's like they're the ex. And
sometimes it doesn't change. Well, let me backpedal a little bit.
Okay.
It doesn't always necessarily change over.
You don't think so?
Sometimes it just doesn't. Like for the rest of Safari's life, I use him as an example because that's the perfect example. Nikki will be tied to him.
Because Nikki's really like that. Like as far as in the public eye, because this is very televised. Everybody sees it. We all know. So in the public eye, yes, Nikki will be Safari's DX forever.
Right.
Same with Meek, because of how powerful of an entity Nikki is. Nikki is the shit in that aspect.
And you can't live up to that.
You can't live up to what Nikki
I-
is as a woman.
Like in the sense of like when you build a relationship with them, people are still going to ask about
Like
oh,
such and
how's your
such.
ex
Yeah, how's
and
such and
whatever.
such
Like
doing?
the
You
only
talk to such and
difference
such?
is with Safari and Nikki, people won't really ask Safari how Nikki is because they can just turn on the TV and see
And
how
find
she's
out.
doing. Like
Facts.
that's it. That's the only difference. When
But-
it comes to lower level individuals,
Like
not
us
saying that we're
regular
trash.
folks, regular folks.
regular people like us.
The
it's
rules
still
change. The rules change.
a little, not much.
Region matters. Location, location, location is another thing we found out in our research.
Which is something that you proved to me a bit that location,
That
does matter. And I'll let you
because-
explain why.
Because I live in Jersey. I'm from New York. Most of my friends from New York wouldn't consider V the ex if we broke up right now. If I broke up with V and moved back to New York, V wouldn't be the ex. They would call her my baby mom, but the ex would be Fatback. the simultaneous laughter is the worst. Y'all terrible. Y'all made it so much worse than I thought it sounded. In
Can
my
we
head.
get a slab of pork right here?
Put the pork right here. Yeah, let's just put the pork right here. Fatback would be the ex. I'm holding the pork. Casey, you got me, bro? I'm holding the pork. A slab of pork. All right. So over there, it would be Fatback. But here, because we're regular folks, it's going to be V 10 times over. Like, no one would even question. There is no one else before V. But me and V are slightly in the public eye.
Slightly.
So at this point, the changeover happened a long time ago in that sense. But
I don't see.
if you have a friend who completely moved away from a state that she lived in and lives in a completely different state with a completely different man, and no one knows of her life prior to moving to the new state.
But if they knew,
if they
knew, or if they go looking, right,
they'll
find out that she has the ex, and that the ex will be tied to her forever, right? That's how it is. Or you can consider him the ex, however you want to look at it. But he made more of an impact, regardless if she started a new life. That's her. That's just it.
He made a pretty large impact, but in her more adult years, I think he's just a blimp. But like he's a little blip in the spectrum.
But
he's
he
tiny.
played a major role into who she is now.
Who she is now.
Her personality and her emotions and so forth wouldn't be the way that they are if it wasn't for how he treated her and the things that they went through. Because that also plays a factor as well.
So for her personal take on it, the ex is him. But on the outside world, they don't know who the ex is.
Because she doesn't talk about her past life here. So, but if she were to explain it, people will conclude that that is her, the ex.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know, you yourself sitting here listening to this or watching this, you know who the ex is for you. You do know. And if it is, for the guys, if it is a girl that can literally hit your phone right now and you start rubbing that thing, you like, hey, it is what it is, boss. She ready. She is the ex.
That's what the ex essentially also is. There's a lot of factors that go into it, like we explained. Here you go.
You thought the cough counter wasn't on? Stop playing.
Shut your butt. If you can go back to having sex with them, that's definitely it.
Definitely the ex.
Even if they have a child at this point and are married or unmarried, you can get away with, like, if the first person that she or he calls is you. Even if both of you are in a relationship,
that's the ex.
That's the ex, like, and that's a dub.
There's also another toxic. Get ready, put your toxic outfit on. Shorty that gave the best neck.
Holy!
If she sucked your soul,
that's the one you gonna call. That's the one you gonna call. It don't matter.
What's going on?
Nah. I'm not gonna say you actually supposed to call this bitch.
Okay.
I'm saying
she gonna meet it.
You gotta meet it.
No, I'm talking about because there's a difference between the ex and
The ex.
the one that fucked you the best. You feel what I'm saying?
That's something different.
Is there a difference?
So just because a man would hit up another, you feel me, or some of his old.
Okay. No. You're right. Listen, I didn't say that. I see what you're saying. If I'm hitting Shorty up, it might be because I'm that guy for her or whatever, and I can get that because she gave the best box or she gave the best head. But the girl that can hit you up while you're in your situation and get it whenever she want,
She's the ex.
the ex.
And ain't really no bitch that could do that.
Not to you, not to me.
Not everyone has the ex either.
Hold on, yeah, but I'm talking to you, right here. Listen, you know who I'm talking to. You know if he or she calls your phone, something getting clapped that night. I'm talking to you. Yes. Don't. I understand. It's uncomfortable. Don't worry. They can't hear you. I know.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying. I know. They're out there.
Christ Rob is in the building.
Christ Rob is in the building.
Listen,
let me get mine. But I'm just saying, they're out there, and it's scary for a few folks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
now, how do you, when you move on to this new relationship, right? Like, whether it's for the man or the woman, how do you feel knowing that you'll never live up to the ex? How do you